Hello, 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 everybody. It's Eliza Bloom Robinson, another episode of Voices for a New Humanity. And I'm here today with my friend, Nancy Serpless. Nancy comes to us from Melbourne, Australia. And
Hi.
she is so committed to consciousness. I call the group that we're in together my consciousness buddies or my quantum buddies. And so I asked Nancy here today to just be in a very informal conversation about new humanity and what that's looking like and what's that feeling like. Nancy's she's the head of the Visionary Network in Australia, which when she told me that, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. She said, well, we're just, it doesn't matter because what do you guys do? You hold it and you see it and you call it forth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have a lot together. Yeah. It's a great.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And so I want to just introduce you, Nancy, and say thank you for being a voice for the new humanity. And what would you like to say about the group, the Visionary Network, and how you guys are playing in what feels so new, especially as we go through this kind of pandemic time and this change, this wobble in the world? Like, what do you feel? What do you sense? What are you experiencing coming in?
Well, like all my life, I have loved the whole consciousness upgrade of people. I really feel, in a sense, I've always had a bit of a knowing that we're here for a shift of an age. And I can see how it's sort of unfolding. And so, of course, wherever, like I was born, I'm Canadian. And so wherever I've been, for whether in Canada or then moved off and in Australia here now for most of my life, you need your buddies. Like, buddies are just the best, and they are resonant people that are on the same page as you and exploring the possibility of us and others on this planet and what's actually happening. So I mean, there is lots of stuff we read, and there's so many people out there that are just doing such amazing things, and it really uplifts us all. But when you actually, now in this time now, I feel like this is the time where we're really discovering about ourselves. That's what's actually the main thing occurring. People, you're taking back your power, you're discovering who you've always been, you're discovering new awarenesses, new consciousnesses, new perspectives. Just something seems to be coming up from the belly of you, and it just, the power is increasing and you are seeing a little bit clearer. Now, so to have buddies and to have resonant people that you are discussing this with, that you are exploring it with. So you're exploring what you're also finding in the moment. It's been fantastic to read about other people's stuff, but I think right now it's very vital to discover for yourself what's true for you.
Yeah.
Because that's when it becomes real in your life. I really, doesn't it? It makes it real. It's not something you have to believe. It's not something hoping for or anything like that. You've had an experience, you've got some knowledge for yourself, you're tuned in more to what you've always believed and the synchronicities in your life, and everything is coming together and coalescing into a firm knowing of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I think,
you've got...
Yeah, there's such a difference between knowing and knowing.
And living it, yeah. Being the living, yeah. Like, as an example, I used to know, I used to read well, there'd be Abraham, there would be, we had Eckhart Tolle there for a while, we had Neil Donald Walsh, we had Greg Baden, we have, just the list
the
goes
whole
on
list
and
of them.
Yeah, the whole, and they're still prevalent and all that kind of stuff, but I remember listening so much to them. And then when I was talking to people, I could feel myself just copying what they had said. I believed it. It felt resonated. So it wasn't like I was trying, but I could tell I was only uh, it reverberating and expressing what I'd heard them say. It
Yes.
sometimes it was in my own words, sometimes it wasn't. It was just verbatim or whatever like that. But what I'm finding now is that I'm kind of less and less interested in what I've been reading, although I'm still reading, but it's just, I can see it's less and less interested. And now in a conversation sort of like this, and things will be coming up and I'll find myself speaking things and I'll recognize, oh my God, I actually used to say that from my mind, but actually
Exactly.
now I'm saying it as if it's new, as if the first time I've heard it, because I'm actually speaking it from my own truth.
Right.
And then I can understand now that people, when they say things for the first time, and then they wrote the book about it, and we read it and believed it, but I can see now how that book came about, because it actually came up from a place within, of knowing within them
Mhm.
and speaking a truth. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
So,
I've had that experience so much, like a while back and then again recently, but it's like the words that I'm using are the same words, but the energy, the vibration behind them are so different because I've embodied it at a different level. It's like we've up leveled into the beingness of that. So it's like you say, it's not from the mind anymore. It's this whole
yes.
some of the phrases I'm using a lot is the becomingness, or our beingness is ever becomingness. But
Oh, yeah.
it's that it feels to me like there's such an up leveling, and some of the things you said is exactly what I'm experiencing too. Like we're integrating it, we're embodying it. But also the other thing, and I'm wondering if you're experiencing this too, like the power of co-creation has totally changed.
Yes. Yes. I, for me, I would call what's happening with this too is a deepening. So I feel like I'm a deepening, which means I'm housing more of my true being, and therefore my perspectives are different. And so with that comes the recognition that everybody is playing their part beautifully. And so the co-creation is on it from a different level now. You
Yes.
know, you actually want the differences, and you're looking for the differences that bring about a much grander piece of creation that you're working on, or a grander understanding. So I know with us and my buddies here, we all come from quite different perspectives. And so when we're all speaking from what's true for us now, because we've deepened to this greater knowing of ourselves. So now when we're sharing, it's almost like all the threads are coming together, and everybody has their eye on not what you're saying and what's important for you, and that everybody's agreeing with you. What you're looking for is the thing that's forming
Yeah.
in our consciousness with everybody's contribution.
Yes.
It's just this thing, and that's where everybody's attention is at. And
Yes.
so it just pulls your contribution out of you, because you're adding the next piece that's yours to add, but you wouldn't even know what it is. It just, everybody's just there having the conversation, and before you know it, everybody has this an enlightened moment of which you all added to so authentically. And
Yeah.
there's the shift I feel. That's the shift that I think is just there for us all now.
It's huge. And I have this visual as you're speaking, almost like embroidery threads. Like everybody, like I just, speak what I speak and you speak what you speak. And then all of a sudden my contribution is for the greater good. And then the mosaic or the multicolored threads is, and then it goes.
Yeah.
The power, I've been saying that's the power of the collaborative, but you said it so brilliantly too. It's like coming together. We can't do this by ourselves anymore. We have to do it for ourselves.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
buddies are, that's what I'm finding ever since I came into the group where you and I met, which was only for me in October in that particular group. But it's
Mm.
quantum leaped me so much because I'm finding like people who are so resonant and so disparate too.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's
And it kind of in the community as well. So even, I mean, we have our buddies and we do our thing too,
Right.
but also with this newfound knowing of yourself, it's easier to see it in others. So even when I'm walking down the street doing my shopping or whatever I am, I'm having better conversations with people that are just there in line with me and stuff like that than I ever did before. And everybody's responding in a way more conscious way. And I'm sort of wondering, is it the time? So we've all, done it. Is it me or is it them? And I just realized it's actually a combination of all of that.
Mhm.
It's everybody's waking up at the same time. We're all becoming more aware of things. And when you just open your mouth and have this conversation with a person and they respond so beautifully, you realize everybody's ripe for it. So everybody's your buddy in a sense. Everybody's in this together. We're all on a world together. So we all have our part to play. And I love pulling it out of anybody and everybody but it comes from me for here. I either find myself in front of the person and it just comes out of you. And so that's what I love. Even when I was on a cruise ship, I remember this old couple, they were Chinese, and we sat beside them because it was the only seats left in the whole dining room. My sister and I were there together. And before you know it, I'm sitting there chatting with them and whatnot. One was a priestess or whatever like that, who she was in high up in this religious order or something. And he was like some scientist that knew all about the quantum field and all that kind of. And it was like we had the most amazing conversation. And Peggy, afterwards, my sister, she says, Nancy, how do you do that? You just open up to the people. I said, well, they're there and they want to open up too. And before we knew it. And so Peggy was quite in awe of, and I'm in awe of what's actually in that person next to you. What is their contribution? What do they know? Because you have no idea. We could have just thought they were an old couple with not, and they were just the most amazing people. So I'm loving that. The tapestry of the world is in everything. And even nature now, even the animals now. I've traveled the world. I've seen the gorillas. I've communed with the gorillas, the whales, the whale sharks, dolphins, trees. Oh, I just love my trees. And this communication all the time with them. And I feel like I was gathering information from all the realms of nature. And then I had this experience up on Mount Shasta. And my friends and I, we were walking up there, and all of a sudden I heard this voice came out of me, this toning. It was actually just a toning. It started with my voice, but it actually went down into my chest. And I remember at the time thinking, how am I making this sound? Because it wasn't from my voice, it was down further. And then I saw this cloud and spaceship appear around Mount Shasta, at the top of Mount Shasta. And I found myself just sitting down like this, and I felt myself getting plugged in from the spaceship there. There was a flurry of activity in the spaceship. And they were pumping all the information I'd gathered from the planet in all my travels. And then I heard the words, now we know how to go forward. And what that meant to me was every living thing has a say in how this shift of an age is occurring.
Yeah.
And that was just and also it shows me that we are who we are. We don't have to learn something. Right. Like I didn't have to learn how to tone to be able to. In fact, I still can't tone. But when you needed what you needed, it came. You already are that being. You already know what to do. It will be activated at the time. So the other good thing about this time for me is just freeing me up from anything I have to do, anything I have to learn, anything I have to, all of that, the shoulds, the have-tos have disappeared. And I'm completely in this space of freedom, it feels like, that is much, much lighter than it's ever been. And just sort of following it and more deepening so that my clarity and my sensing and my feeling of things has really increased. I get a lot more knowing now from the feelings that are coming, and it's fun to explore it and stuff like that too. But I just feel we are already well into the shift. Yes. Yeah, and one thing for people or something like that is to, like, there's been lots of different agendas. You can say, you know, the cabal, whatever it is, the vaccines, so many different, ETs have been here for a long, long time, but we don't, they're not telling us. And there's just, thousands of different kind of perspectives. And I remember like 5-10 years ago and stuff like that, could be really into them. And I was really for them. And I got really worked up a lot about all of that. And now what I find is happening is I feel like we have shifted into this new space. And I understand you can feel the universe has a plan, and the universe's plan of the light is winning. It is definitely, that's the plan that's unfolding. And all these other ones that used to be sort of huge and big have this small little, it's just a little agenda within down here. And it's all doing its purpose because it's waking people up, it's making them more aware, it's making them question, people are waking up, so everything's doing as it's needed to do to unfold. But up here, the light is just pouring on, and we are just in the light is winning. The forces of this are already here, they are within us, and the light is just moving up through everybody and awakening them. And it doesn't really matter anymore. I don't really, before I used to be so into it. And now it's like, okay, whatever. And that's how it unfolded. I'm walking here. I can't feel it anymore. It doesn't really matter. This is how it looked as we shifted in age. And I am okay with however it looks now. Because I know the universe has it well in hand. And I'm just going to do my part, and I'm going to make sure I have fun with it, not be.
I'm so glad you said that. And it's light, it's fun, it's expansive, it's collaborative, it is like a whole different dimension of consciousness, really, as we make this shift, as we've made this shift, as we're making. And don't you feel like, just one last kind of comment, don't you feel like it's for this time that we were here? Like, this is what we were
absolutely
for this
there's
moment.
Yes, there's so many people on this planet where we love adventure. And I'm seeing, even though I'm past adventuring, being 69, I'm past adventuring in some ways, like climbing mountains or whatever. But I can see we, at this point of time, are on the greatest adventure in this universe.
Yeah.
We have a body on this planet in this shift. And oh my God, this is how it's looking, this is how it's going, this is what we're contributing, this is how we're waking up, and it is the greatest adventure every person on this planet is in. And when we recognize that and go with it, we are just gleefully and joyously adventuring our way into the next, whatever the shift is taking us.
Whatever the shift is taking us. I call it New Humanity Now. And this is a Voices of New Humanity, and I'm so grateful that you were able to spend this time with us. And
thank you.
Out Nancy, we'll put her links down in the description of this video. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.